All right, let's jump right in. You sent us some research. Seems like you're really interested in e-bike batteries.
Yeah, looks like it.
And, especially want to get a deeper understanding.
Yeah, more than just the surface level.
More than just the basics, yeah.
Definitely.
So we're going to take a deep dive today into e-bike battery tech.
Awesome.
And, perfect timing
Yeah.
if you're thinking about getting an e-bike yourself.
Absolutely. It's a great time.
So from what we saw in your notes, you're particularly interested in the differences between those lithium-ion batteries.
Right. The ones that are,
The ones that are everywhere these days.
yeah, pretty much the standard now.
Yeah.
And those solid-state batteries that are starting to make some noise.
Yeah, the up-and-coming ones that promise that,
That's super fast charging.
super fast charging. Like, imagine charging your e-bike in the time it takes to grab a coffee.
Oh, that'd be a game changer.
Right. That's the future that solid-state batteries are, kind of.
Yeah, that's the promise.
Painting, right?
For sure.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's take a step back and understand why lithium-ion batteries are the current kings of the e-bike world.
Okay, so think about it this way. With an e-bike, you need a battery that can pack a ton of energy
Yeah.
into a pretty small space.
Nobody wants a bulky,
Nobody wants to be lugging around
heavy e-bike.
a giant battery.
Right, right.
So that's where energy density comes in. And lithium-ion batteries, they're really good at that.
Okay.
They're also fairly lightweight. And with, proper care, they can last a good few years.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we all know,
From our phones especially.
even those batteries don't last forever.
Right. They don't.
So is it the same story with e-bike batteries?
It is, yeah. Over time, you'll notice you won't be going quite as far on a single charge.
Oh, okay.
Like your phone,
It loses its juice a little bit.
exactly, it loses some of its capacity each year,
Mm-hmm.
about 2 to 3% under normal use. But here's the thing. The way you treat your battery has a really big impact on how long it lasts.
Oh.
Things like leaving it out in extreme temperatures or overcharging it or letting it completely drain.
Really put a strain on it.
Those things can really shorten its lifespan.
So, don't leave your e-bike baking in the sun all day?
Yeah, pretty much. The battery will thank you.
Okay, good to know.
Treat it well. It'll treat you well.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's talk about this intriguing solid-state battery tech.
All right.
What makes it so different from what we're used to?
Okay, the key difference is the electrolyte, the stuff that allows those ions to flow and create that electrical current. In a lithium-ion battery, that's a liquid, but in a solid-state battery, like the name suggests, it's a solid.
Okay, so help me visualize this. What's the advantage of having a solid electrolyte versus a liquid one?
Think of it like this. A traditional battery is like a water balloon, kind of squishy and prone to, leaks if you're not careful. A solid-state battery is more like a bouncy ball. It's much more stable and durable.
Oh, okay, I get it. So that solid structure makes it less likely to, overheat or catch fire, which is obviously a huge plus.
Right, safety is a big advantage with solid-state.
Huge plus for safety.
And on top of that, they're even better at packing energy into a small space.
Okay.
You could have a smaller, lighter battery that actually lasts even longer on a single charge.
Wow.
And speaking of charging, that's where solid-state batteries really shine, potentially charging in a fraction of the time compared to lithium-ion.
So we're talking
They're talking minutes, not hours.
minutes, not hours. So that popping out for a quick coffee while your e-bike fully charges
It could be a reality.
could actually be a reality. So I'm sure there's got to be a downside, right?
Well, yeah.
The research you sent mentioned cost and availability as potential roadblocks.
True. They are more expensive to produce right now than traditional lithium-ion batteries, and they're not as easy to find. But here's the exciting part. As production scales up, the price is expected to come down, and we should see more e-bikes with this tech hitting the market.
So it's not a matter of if, but when.
That's the hope.
Gotcha. Okay, before we get too lost in the future,
Yeah.
let's zoom in on the present. What makes up these powerhouses?
Okay, sure.
From your notes, I see there are 3 key components: the cells, the casing, and something called the battery management system, or BMS.
You got it. The cells, those are the heart of the battery. That's
Yeah.
where the energy storage actually happens.
Okay.
The casing is the protective shell, keeps everything safe from the elements.
Okay.
And the BMS, that's like the brain of the operation.
Break down the brain for me. What does the BMS actually do?
So the BMS is constantly monitoring and controlling everything that's going on inside that battery pack, keeping track of the temperature, voltage, current, making sure everything is running smoothly and safely.
Okay.
It also protects the battery from things like overcharging, deep discharge, and short circuits.
Oh.
It's like a guardian angel. ensuring optimal performance and a longer lifespan for your battery.
That's impressive. It sounds like the BMS is playing a pretty critical role behind the scenes.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so let's say you are ready to take the plunge and buy an e-bike. What are some things you should be looking for when it comes to the battery?
All right, great question. That's a crucial one.
Yeah.
So a few key factors to keep in mind. Let's start with capacity and range, because those are really closely linked.
Capacity, I'm guessing, is how much juice the battery can hold.
It's measured in watt hours, and the higher the watt hours, the more energy it can store, which means you can ride farther on a single charge.
So if I'm planning on, like, epic adventures, I want a battery with higher watt hours.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you're mostly using it for shorter trips around town, you might not need as much capacity.
Okay.
It really depends on your riding style and what you need it for.
Makes sense.
And then range, closely related to capacity, that's how far you can actually go on a single charge. Like the distance your e-bike can cover before you need to plug it back in.
Oh, range anxiety is real, even for e-bikes.
Yeah, definitely. And while capacity is a major factor, range is also influenced by things like the terrain, how you ride, and even the weather.
Oh, okay.
Like hilly areas or strong headwinds, those will drain your battery faster than cruising on flat ground with a tailwind.
Gotcha.
So just keep in mind that the advertised range is often based on ideal conditions.
Okay, good to know. So knowing your, typical routes and riding style can help you choose the right battery capacity and range for your needs.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Let's talk charging, because nobody wants to wait forever for their e-bike to power up.
Right.
What kind of charging times are we looking at here?
Okay, with lithium-ion batteries, which are the standard right now, you're typically looking at anywhere between 4 to 8 hours.
Oh.
But remember that solid-state potential we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Those could potentially get that down to under 30 minutes.
Okay, now that is a game changer.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being able to juice up your e-bike.
During a quick lunch break.
During a quick lunch break, yeah. Okay, hold on, I've got another question.
Sure.
We know that e-bikes are already heavier than regular bikes.
They are, yeah.
How much of that weight comes from the battery?
It definitely contributes. It's a bit of a balancing act. Lightweight batteries are great for maneuverability.
Yeah.
But they might not offer as much capacity, if you need to go far.
Okay.
You might have to accept a little extra weight.
Right, so it's finding that sweet spot.
Finding that balance.
Yeah. Okay, before we move on, let's talk safety. What should people be aware of when it comes to e-bike battery safety?
Absolutely. Safety is paramount. You want to make sure the e-bike you're considering has a good thermal management system.
Okay.
That'll help prevent overheating, which is one of the biggest risks with any battery.
Okay.
And this is where that BMS, that brain we talked about, comes in, plays a crucial role in safe charging and discharging.
So it's like the safety net.
Yeah, it's constantly monitoring the battery's temperature, and it'll regulate things if it senses any potential issues.
Okay.
Also, look for built-in protections against overcharging and short circuits,
Gotcha. So safety first.
Always.
Always. Okay. One last thing before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Let's talk brands and warranties. What should people keep in mind when choosing an e-bike brand?
Excellent point. Brand reputation and warranty are really important to consider.
Yeah.
Do your research, read reviews from other owners, look for brands that are known for quality and reliability, and pay close attention to the warranty on that battery.
Okay.
A good warranty can give you peace of mind knowing you're covered if something goes wrong.
That makes sense. So we've covered quite a bit about lithium-ion batteries, gotten a glimpse of the exciting future with solid state, and even delved into the key components, safety, and the importance of brands and warranties.
We have, but there's still more to explore. The world of e-bike batteries doesn't stop there.
Okay, you've got me intrigued. So let's dive into those future trends in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
All right.
Welcome back. While we were talking about solid-state batteries,
Yeah.
I was thinking about the impact they could have.
Oh, yeah.
Beyond just like personal transportation.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine
like delivery fleets.
Entire delivery fleet.
Powered by these,
super efficient, fast charging.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We could be looking at
a revolution.
A revolution in logistics.
Yeah, and a huge step towards greener cities.
Quieter, zero-emission vehicles everywhere.
No, that's a compelling vision.
Yeah, it is. But let's bring it back to you and your potential e-bike.
Oh, okay.
We've talked about the tech, but how do you actually keep your battery healthy?
Oh, that's a great point. So a little battery care can go a long way, right?
It really can.
Okay.
First and foremost, remember those extreme temperatures we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Huge no-no for batteries. Avoid leaving your e-bike baking in the sun or freezing in the cold. Like Goldilocks. Not too hot, not too cold, just right.
Yeah.
A cool, dry place is ideal for storage.
Out of sight at the right
Yeah,
temperature.
exactly. Any other golden rules for battery care?
Lay 'em on me.
Okay, so remember how we talked about completely draining your phone battery isn't good for it?
Yeah.
Same goes for your e-bike battery.
Okay.
Best to recharge it before it hits that 20% mark.
Okay.
That'll help keep it healthy and give you more mileage over its lifespan.
So regular top-ups are better than running it down to the wire. Got it.
Exactly.
What about charging habits? Anything specific to keep in mind there?
Always use the charger that came with your e-bike.
Okay.
It's designed specifically for your battery and will deliver the right amount of juice.
Okay.
Using a generic charger can be risky. They might not have the right safety features and could damage your battery.
Gotcha. Stick with the original.
Yeah, play it safe.
Okay, so I know a lot of people are concerned about the environmental impact of e-bike batteries.
Yeah, it's a valid concern.
What can you tell us about that?
It's something the industry is working on. E-bikes themselves are a greener mode of transportation.
Yeah.
But making and getting rid of those batteries does have an environmental footprint.
So what's being done to make these batteries more sustainable?
Well, there's a lot of research going into developing more eco-friendly battery chemistries,
Okay.
using materials that are less toxic and easier to recycle. And speaking of recycling,
Mm-hmm.
the infrastructure for recycling lithium-ion batteries is getting better all the time.
Okay.
Many countries have programs to make sure those valuable materials don't end up in landfills.
Oh, that's encouraging. So it sounds like we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
And as consumers, we can choose brands that prioritize sustainability.
Absolutely. Look for brands with clear recycling programs.
Right. Doing your research and making informed choices. That's key.
Sure.
Okay, so we've covered battery care, environmental impact.
Yeah.
We touched on those future trends. What exactly are these trends and how might they shape the e-bike experience down the road?
Okay, so based on your research, there are 3 key areas to watch.
Okay.
First, get ready for even higher energy density.
Okay.
Imagine batteries that pack even more power into the same size, or even smaller packages.
More power, less weight.
Exactly, meaning longer rides without sacrificing anything.
That's always a winning combination.
Absolutely. What else? Faster charging?
Okay.
We talked about solid-state's potential, but even lithium-ion tech is improving. Shorter downtimes, more convenience for your commute.
Less waiting, more riding, music to my ears.
Right. And the third trend, smart batteries.
Oh, okay.
Imagine an app that gives you real-time insights into your battery's health.
Oh, wow.
You could track charging cycles, estimate your range, even get alerts if there's a problem.
So it's like having a personal battery assistant.
Yeah, right in your pocket.
Okay, so the future of e-bike batteries is looking bright, more power, faster charging, even smarter tech.
It is, but there are still some challenges.
Okay, like what?
Well, cost is a big one. Solid-state batteries have huge potential.
Yeah.
But they're still pretty expensive to produce.
Okay.
Researchers are trying to find ways to bring those costs down to make it more accessible.
Right, so making those advancements affordable is key.
Absolutely.
What other challenges are out there?
Well, that energy density, we're always looking to improve that, even though batteries are getting smaller,
Yeah.
still pushing for more energy in a tighter space.
Okay.
And of course, sustainability is a big one, always exploring new materials and processes to make these batteries more eco-friendly.
Right, so it's great that sustainability is at the forefront of these advancements.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've covered the trends, the challenges,
We have.
but there's one more thing we haven't really talked about, the regulations and safety standards for these batteries.
Oh, that's an important topic.
Yeah, because as e-bikes get more popular,
Right.
it's crucial to understand the rules of the road.
Exactly.
So what kind of regulations are we talking about here?
Well, they vary from place to place, but they generally cover things like the max power of the motor,
Okay.
the top speed, and even where you can ride.
So it's not just a free-for-all. There are limits in place to keep things safe.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah,
Letting people enjoy the benefits while ensuring safety for everyone.
makes sense. Now, what about the batteries themselves? Are there specific regulations for those?
Absolutely. There are international safety standards that ensure those batteries are rigorously tested.
Oh, wow.
You're talking impact resistance, fire safety, overcharging protection, making sure they can withstand everyday use.
So these aren't just any batteries.
Nope, they're put through the ringer to
Yeah.
make sure they're up to the task.
Okay, so what kind of things do these standards cover?
Well, everything from the materials they're made of to how they manage temperature and prevent overcharging.
Okay.
Impact resistance is a big one. They're tested to make sure they can handle drops without being damaged.
So if I accidentally drop my e-bike.
You can be confident the battery is designed to handle it.
Okay, good to know. What else?
Fire safety is another big one. These batteries have flammable materials.
Yeah.
So the standards make sure they're designed to prevent overheating and fires.
So they're designed with safety as a top priority.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What else?
Overcharging protection. Remember how we said it's important not to overcharge?
Yeah.
These standards make sure the battery has built-in mechanisms to prevent that, even if you accidentally leave it plugged in.
Okay, so the safety features are built right in.
They are, and the BMS plays a key role in this, monitoring voltage, current, temperature, and shutting off charging if needed.
Wow. So the safety standards and the BMS are really working hard behind the scenes.
They are. It's all about keeping things safe.
Yeah.
You can even look for certifications like UL or CE,
Mm-hmm.
which means the battery has met those standards.
So those certifications are like a seal of approval.
Exactly. They give you peace of mind,
Right.
knowing that battery has been designed with safety in mind.
Great. So as we wrap up this epic e-bike battery deep dive, I
Yeah.
want to thank you for taking us on this journey.
Of course, it's been my pleasure.
We explored the tech, the trends, the tips, even the rules of the road.
It's been a comprehensive deep dive.
I feel like I have an honorary degree in e-bike battery technology now.
I hope you feel empowered to make informed decisions about e-bike batteries.
I definitely do.
Whether you're buying an e-bike or just curious about the technology.
We've covered it all.
We have.
The tech, the trends, the tips, the rules of the road.
The whole 9 yards.
It's been amazing. Any final thoughts for our listeners as they embark on their e-bike journey?
I would say embrace the evolution. This world is constantly changing, new advancements all the time.
Yeah.
So stay curious, do your research, choose what's right for you, and most importantly, enjoy the ride.
Well said. We've reached the end of our e-bike battery deep dive.
It has been a journey.
We hope you found it insightful, informative, and maybe even a little electrifying. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our e-bike battery deep dive.
Back from there.
We've really covered a lot.
We have.
But before we wrap things up, gotta talk about something crucial
Absolutely.
for both safety and just responsible e-biking.
Being a good e-bike citizen.
Yes! The regulations, the standards that govern these powerful batteries.
Yeah. It's one thing to understand how they work,
Right.
but it's equally important to know the rules of the road, so to speak.
So where do those regulations come in? Are we talking about like laws specifically for e-bikes?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
As e-bikes become more and more popular, governments around the world are putting regulations in place to make sure they're used safely, both for riders and everyone else.
Okay.
And these regulations, well, they can be different depending on where you are.
Right.
So it's always a good idea to check the specific rules in your area.
That makes sense. So what kind of things do these regulations typically cover?
Well, one of the most common things is the maximum power output
Okay.
for that e-bike motor, how much assistance it can give you.
Okay.
Essentially, it's limiting how powerful the e-bike can be.
So there are limits to prevent them from becoming like mini motorcycles.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Right.
between having that electric help and keeping it safe
Keeping it reasonable.
for everyone.
Yeah. Safety first.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do these regulations usually address?
Another common one is the top speed the motor can assist you at.
Oh,
It's often capped at a certain level,
okay.
especially in areas with lots of traffic or pedestrians.
So there are speed limits specifically for e-bikes.
In a lot of places, yes.
Okay.
And often they're lower than the speed limits for regular bikes.
Gotcha. So it's like an extra layer of caution.
Exactly.
Okay. Are there any other regulatory areas to be aware of?
Sometimes there might be rules about where you can actually ride your e-bike.
Okay.
Some places might restrict them from certain paths or trails, or they might require registration or licensing.
So it's not always a free-for-all. There are specific rules to follow.
Right. Check those local regulations.
Now, what about the batteries themselves? Any specific safety standards for those?
Absolutely. There are international safety standards for e-bike batteries.
Okay.
They have to be rigorously tested.
Wow.
We're talking impact resistance, fire safety, overcharging protection,
Making sure they can handle everyday use.
Exactly. Making sure they're safe to use out in the real world.
That's reassuring to know. So what do these standards actually cover?
Well, a lot of things. From the materials used to how they manage temperature and prevent overcharging.
Okay.
Like impact resistance is a big one, making sure they can withstand drops without damage.
So if I accidentally drop my e-bike, I can feel confident the battery is designed for that.
That's the goal.
Okay, good to know.
What else?
Fire safety is another huge one. These batteries have flammable stuff inside.
Right.
So the standards ensure they're designed to prevent overheating and fires. So they're designed with safety as a top priority.
Absolutely.
Okay, what else?
Well, they also address overcharging protection.
Oh, right.
Remember we talked about not overcharging your battery?
Yes.
Well, these standards make sure the battery itself has protection built in.
Okay.
So even if you leave it plugged in too long,
Okay, that makes me feel better.
it should be safe.
Yeah, so these safety features are baked right into the battery itself.
That's right. And the BMS, that battery management system, plays a big part in that,
Okay.
constantly monitoring the battery and shutting things down if needed.
It's like a guardian angel.
It really is, working hard behind the scenes.
Wow, those safety standards and the BMS are pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're essential.
Okay, so how can we as consumers know if a battery meets these standards?
Look for certifications from organizations like UL or CE.
Okay.
They do independent testing, and their mark means the battery has passed those tests.
So those certifications are like a seal of approval?
Exactly. Peace of mind.
Okay, great. Well, I think we've reached the end of our e-bike battery deep dive.
It's been a journey.
Really appreciate you taking us through all of this.
My pleasure. It's been fun.
We've explored the tech, the trends, the tips, even the legal stuff.
The whole shebang.
I feel like I could write a textbook on this now.
Maybe not a textbook.
Okay, maybe not, but I've definitely learned a lot. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we sign off?
Yeah, I just say, this world is constantly changing, so stay curious, keep learning,
Yeah.
and most importantly, get out there and enjoy the ride.
Well said. Thanks again for joining us on this deep dive into e-bike batteries.
It's been a blast.
We hope you found it insightful, informative, and maybe even a little electrifying. Until next time.